followed the mighty Kanawha River all the way down to the state capitol. Boy, oh boy, have I been looking forward to this. Bet we'll find lots of amazing things here. Come on, we've got a big day ahead of us. Today we're in Charleston, nestled in the Kanawha Valley where the Elk and Kanawha rivers meet. We've got a rich story to tell from ancient peoples through industry to modern times, so let's dig in. Long before European settlers came through, this land was home to indigenous peoples. Archaeologists have found Clovis points and other ancient artifacts showing people hunted big game here 12,000 years ago. The river that flows through Charleston, the Kanawha River, takes its name from a tribe that once lived here, sometimes called the Kanoi, or Kanawha, meaning roughly canoeway, or waterway. Later, through the woodland and Fort Ancient periods, people built earth mounds and village sites along the terraces above the river. One surviving example is the Creole Mound near South Charleston, built by the Adena culture more than 2,000 years ago. So when you walk these streets, you're treading on thousands of years of human history. Fast forward to the late 1700s, after the American Revolution, when pioneers pressed west across the Appalachians. In 1787, a group led by Colonel George Clendenin built Fort Lee at what is now Brook Street and Kanawha Boulevard. It was 7 houses, 35 people, and a whole lot of wilderness. One of the region's first industries was salt. Settlers discovered brine wells along the Kanawha River, and by 1808, Charleston was producing tons of salt every day. The discovery of nearby coal and natural gas soon powered furnaces, glassworks, and eventually the chemical industry, laying the groundwork for a boomtown. Now we come to the mid-19th century, the Civil War era. The Kanawha Valley sat right on the fault line between Union and Confederate sympathies. Charleston changed hands several times during the war, first occupied by Union forces, then briefly seized by the Confederates before the Union retook it in 1862. The next year, Western Virginia counties broke away from the Confederacy and became the 35th state, West Virginia, loyal to the Union. Charleston's position on the rivers made it strategically vital, and after the war, the city's growth accelerated. In 1870, it was named the state capital for the first time, then lost the title briefly and finally reclaimed it permanently in 1885. The Gold Dome Capitol building we see today, designed by the famed architect Cass Gilbert, stands as a symbol of the hard-won status. By the turn of the 20th century, Charleston was booming. Salt led to chemicals, coal-fueled factories, and railroads linked the valley to the rest of the country. The Kanawha Valley became known as the chemical capital of the world, with companies like Union Carbide leading innovation in plastics and industrial chemistry. The city's neighborhoods expanded. New schools and theaters went up, and Charleston's role shifted from frontier outpost to bustling hub of Appalachia. Then came the Great Depression. Like much of America, Charleston took a hit. Coal demand dropped and many workers struggled. But the federal New Deal projects brought jobs and hope. The Civilian Conservation Corps built parks and improved roads. And local art and music thrived under WPA programs. World War II reignited industry. Charleston's chemical and manufacturing plants pivoted to wartime production, and women joined the workforce in unprecedented numbers. After the war, the 1940s and 50s saw prosperity return. Suburbs sprouted in Kanawha City and South Hills. New schools and churches rose, and the interstate highway system tied Charleston more tightly to the nation. By the 1960s, Charleston had grown into a modern capital city. The civil rights movement left its mark as well. African American leaders pushed for equal rights in schools and public life, shaping a more inclusive community. Heading into the later 20th century and beyond, Charleston continued to evolve. While industry remained important, the economy diversified. Government, healthcare, education, and tourism took center stage. The city preserved its historic heart while investing in culture and the arts. From the Vandalia Gathering and Festival Charleston to the Clay Center for the Arts. Charleston also produced some notable folks. actress and singer Jennifer Garner grew up here, as did novelist Homer Hickam, whose Rocket Boys inspired October Sky. And country music legend Kathy Mattea hails from just down the road in Cross Lanes. Not a bad lineup for a mountain capital. As we stand here today, you can just imagine the creek and Adena peoples, the booms of salt furnaces, the smoke of Civil War cannon, the hum of chemical plants, and the shining dome of the state capitol rising above the Kanawha. Charleston's story is one of persistence, reinvention, and pride, a place layered in time, still writing its next chapter. And now that you've seen it in the real world, let's see how close it matches to Fallout 76. Welcome to Charleston, folks, the state capital of wild and wonderful West Virginia. As you saw, it's a beautiful, diverse, and active city in the real world. In the game, it's, well, a post-apocalyptic mess overrun with all manner of things that aren't exactly hospitable. But that doesn't mean it won't have lots of real-world inspirations. It does indeed, and we're going to walk the streets and find as many matching locations as we can. I'm here on the South Side Bridge, which crosses over the Kanawha River and puts you in the heart of downtown Charleston. From here, you get an awesome view of the Charleston skyline. About a block from the bridge, you'll see the headquarters for the Charleston Gazette. Notice those weathered blue letters. Because in the game, the building is quite different, but check out the letters. Blue and weathered, just like their in-game counterpart. Another aspect I find interesting is the people bridge connecting several of these buildings. The in-game version is a little more rickety, but, oh hey, did you hear something? It was nothing. Well, anyway, I suspect that people bridge was the inspiration for parts of the obstacle course you have to run when visiting Charleston in the game. And here we are below the Southside Bridge. Oh, hold on a sec. Nope, no super mutants to chase me off this time. As you can see, the Southside Bridge has its Fallout 76 version, but it's not exactly travel-worthy and has definitely seen better days. Now, what do you say we pay a visit to the most recognizable structure in Charleston, both in the real world and in the game, the State Capitol Building? The Capitol Building is one of the most beautiful buildings in West Virginia. The in-game version matches remarkably well and shares the exact same location on the banks of the Kanawha River. But that's not the only thing they have in common. There's a number of other similarities, so let's do a little exploring and see what we can discover. The most recognizable feature of the real-world Capitol and its in-game counterpart is its stunning gold dome, which can be seen for miles. The in-game version shares the very same feature, and it's the only part of the building that remains intact. The overall structure is very similar, with its classic Roman styling and Corinthian columns. And check out the doors. Though they're mostly buried under rubble and inaccessible in the game, you can see the styling was clearly inspired by the real-world version. Now, the building was under renovation when I was here, so I wasn't able to go inside, but these images of the rotunda show exactly how close the in-game version matches. Pretty amazing, huh? On the east side of the building, you can see an access tunnel that goes under one of the wings. In the game, that area has been washed away by the flood that followed the destruction of the Somerville Dam. But the tunnel would probably be there had those pesky raiders not participated in urban renewal of that scale. Behind the Capitol, you'll find some additional buildings, one being the Department of Motor Vehicles. Gotta get my driver's license! What do you mean it needs to be stamped? No, I gotta get a picture taken too? Jeepers! Now just south of the downtown area and off Interstate 77, you'll see a large healthcare facility, the Women's and Children's Hospital of the Charleston Area Medical Center. This is what I believe to be the inspiration for the AVR Medical Center. Notice the blue color schemes, the various towers, and the general layout. It looks pretty similar, and its location is an exact match. Come on, let's get a closer look. Though the in-game version has more of a futuristic look, the general layout is very similar, and the blue buildings with this green awning here, it's pretty close. The main entrance in the real-world version is set back a little from where it is in the game. But again, because the overall structure design and how the buildings are laid out, I'm pretty sure we're standing here at the AVR Medical Center. Now let's get going before some scorch arrive and make me a patient in there. Now before I said goodbye to Charleston, I decided to have lunch at a Wendy's down from the medical center on Washington Street. What I discovered is not an in-game location per se. Well, the building is, but what this building is in the real world is the World Scouting Museum. I had no idea this was here, and by gosh, there is no way I'm going to pass this up. Now, as you can see, the building in the game looks very similar to the World Scouting Museum. The brick color's the same, the window layouts are very similar, and it's 2 stories. But that's where the similarities end. There's no Scouting Museum in the game, but boy oh boy, if there was, Scoutmaster Jaggy would want me in there right now. Let's go! Wow folks, so here we are at the one and only World Scouting Museum. So right now, I'd like to introduce you all to the museum curator and our host. Hi, I'm Chip. Nice to meet you.
Hi Chip, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you too.
Hi. So in my world, I'm what's called a Pioneer Scout, which are based in the Boy Scouts, and I'm a squirrel rank.
But that's a tadpole uniform, Chip.
So folks, let's hear more about the awesome museum and more about Alex.
Alright, well I'm here from West Virginia. I grew up here in West Virginia and started moving the World Scouting Museum from Las Vegas here in October of last year. We opened right before the National Jamboree at the Summit Medical Reserve, which I heard you recently visited. But right now we've got some things started and some cool things to show you if you want to come inside and check it out.
Oh, I'd love that. And I can't thank you enough for inviting me here to see this. I know we were just passing by, but we wouldn't want to miss this. All you Pioneer Scouts out there, get ready for a treat.
Come on in.
Stepping into the museum, the first thing I spotted was a cutout of renowned comic book adventurer Tintin and his dog Snowy. And then I remembered, Tintin was indeed a scout, but he hails from France, so this is a perfect introduction to what you'll experience here. Scouting is not limited to just America. As we learned in the Summit Bechtel Reserve episode, scouting started in England and quickly became a global phenomenon. So it's truly fitting to have Tintin here as the greeter and the ambassador to introduce you to the adventure that is World Scouting. The main hall features a number of World Jamboree posters from every decade. The art styles are amazing as each is distinctive and captures its time. They're in all kinds of languages, helping you realize just how connected people are through the shared experience of scouting. There are rooms filled with cases of memorabilia and collections from every scouting organization around the world. From neckerchiefs to patches to commemorative plates and souvenirs. There's dozens of rare belt buckles and an outstanding collection of pocket knives and collectibles of all kinds.
So Alex, what's this patch all about?
So if you'll notice, it's actually kind of separated from everything else here, and that's because this patch was actually taken to space. I believe that it was on Apollo 8 with Jim Lovell, which is really, really neat. Now, in the letter that you can see behind it, he says he actually couldn't wear it on his uniform because it wasn't fireproof, unfortunately. But he did say that he did put it in his pocket, and he left it with other patches that he carried. So it did get technically worn while in space, which is really neat. And we actually have some other spaceport patches in the museum as well from other space missions.
So that's a fascinating little thing you can find here in the museum. That is a scout patch that actually went to space. So again, the impact of scouting on our culture is truly phenomenal, and this is a perfect example of it. So wonderful stuff.
Well, you know, almost every Apollo mission and most of the space missions up to and after that point contain at least one scout. And there are still Girl Scouts on the International Space Station to this day.
Wow, so Alex, what are these?
So these are Order of the Arrow sashes. There's 3 different levels to the Order of the Arrow, so we kind of have them displayed out in that way. There is the Ordeal, and down here we have the Brotherhood, and then in the center we have the Vigil. And they're a little bit different each sash. The 3 different levels signify different levels in the Honor Society for Boy Scouts of America, or Scouts BSA. So effectively, the whole point of Order of the Arrow was to become a brotherhood of cheerful service. And the idea is to leave no traces when we camp, to become honor campers. It's about trying to give back to the community and to nature, and to try to help Mother Earth, regain some of the things it's lost in the last 100 years or so.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a great goal to aspire to, all those goals. So wonderful thing here with Order of the Arrow. So thanks for sharing that. And let's move on to the next thing.
Okay.
After exiting the Order of the Arrow display, I found a hallway of paintings, prints, and sculptures, and immediately recognized a number of them from my old Boys Life magazines, and was awed by the fact I was looking at some of the original art right in front of me. I remembered how I found many of these paintings and prints inspiring when I was growing up, and how they so wonderfully captured the spirit and challenge of scouting, and what that meant to me. Then Alex showed me a rare picture of the artist responsible for much of it, legendary American painter Norman Rockwell.
Wow, so folks, here is an actual picture of Norman Rockwell in a scout uniform, and there's his cap right there. So Alex, tell us a little bit about this.
So Norman Rockwell, he actually was too old to become a Boy Scout. So he was never actually participated directly in scouting until he was an adult. But the interesting part about Rockwell is a lot of people remember him for the cover art for Boys Life, but that wasn't his first job. He really started as an illustrator, and he did internal panels, the green bar bill parts and things like that within Boys Life. And then eventually he got to start to do the covers. Once he started doing the covers, eventually he became too expensive. So he could only do 1 cover a year, which he did at a reduced rate for the BSA. And then ultimately, his protege Satari would take over. And we have some of Satari's pictures as well. But no one's as iconic as Rockwell. And this is one of the very few photos of him in a Boy Scout uniform, because he was just an adult leader. He didn't wear it that often, right?
Wow. Oh, wow. Folks, look at all these uniforms. They line this whole case. There's hundreds of them in here. This is awesome. So, Alex, what's this all about?
Well, so this actually shows different uniforms from scouting organizations all around the world. And what a lot of people don't realize is in a lot of countries, the Boy and the Girl Scouts are the same organization. So a lot of these uniforms may represent Girl Scouts as well.
What are some of these countries here that we're looking at?
All right, so right here we have like Colombia, and then this is China. Down here we have the Czech Republic, and this is a Chinese Cub Scout. Let's see what else we have. Denmark is green, and then Ecuador in gray. We have Egyptian in gray and purple, gray with purple accents.
What else do we have in the case?
So it's mostly just the international uniforms for the over 140 countries that are involved in scouting, like we were talking about. But there is some interesting things down here at the end. Right here, this is actually Kenneth Bechtel's uniform. He wore this when he was a member of scouting throughout all his years, and actually gave it to the museum a few years ago. He was the first BSA president who had actually been a Boy Scout in his youth, and is the reason they named Bechtel Summit Reserve after him. Wow. So we're really happy to have that.
It's interesting, folks, because another thing I didn't know, our last episode of the Mojave Wasteland Road Chippin' Show was Hoover Dam, and now we've been to Summit Bechtel Reserve, and now we know that Mr. Bechtel was responsible for a lot of the construction of the Hoover Dam. So amazing world, and again, the impact of Scouts on our culture, our infrastructure, everything. It's a truly American experience and just fascinating. When you visit this museum, you will learn all about it. So awesome.